Disappointments here for the Pelicans, no shockers. We've seen it before, not this time. Zion Williamson, as expected, on his way to the Pels, the consensus National Player of the Year, who in his free time, by the way, likes to write poetry and listen to Jay-Z, so he's keeping creative. Always seemingly creative reactions to the picks. We know that a lot of fans in this arena with the Knicks were hoping they would get the #1 pick. They didn't. We've got Ro Parrish out there in the crowd for the reaction to Zion's name being mentioned. Ro?
Right here, instant reaction, and we have a number of Pelicans fans. We have one transplant from New Jersey. What are your thoughts? You knew Zion was coming, but now it's been confirmed. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty great. It's nice to have a player who not only wants to be here, but is fun to watch and fun to root for, and that's all you can really ask for.
And he's not from New Orleans. He's a transplant. He's from New Jersey, but he is a New Orleans Pelicans fan. So you already have the custom Zion jersey ready. You came prepared, didn't you?
Yes, I did. He's going to be the heart and soul for New Orleans for a few more years, I guess, of next decade. So we're looking forward to him coming down. He's from the South. He's from South Carolina. He knows what he's doing. He's going to eat some shrimp and mashed potatoes and enjoy that city like you have no idea.
And, of course, we can't leave out the young lady who's representing the brotherhood. Of course, what are your thoughts on Zion getting drafted?
We were hoping for 3 more years, but we want only the best for him.
Indeed, and we want only the best for you, Casey, so I'm going to send it back to you upstairs.
I appreciate it, Ro. Thank you very much. Always a great part when you look at the folks with their families. Smitty, what do you remember about after your name was called, the moments that immediately followed?
Well, I think the one thing is, like you said, I'm glad you said family, because the family, they sacrifice just as much as the player and everything they have to deal with, and your entire family, you get a chance to enjoy this. It was a dream come true. You dreamed about being in the NBA. You never know what would happen. Then you get a chance to get your name called. It's a surreal moment that I would never forget, and you can see the smiles on the faces, and obviously on Zion, it's a special moment.
We know Zion, a great player. We also know perhaps could be a phenom, but I agree with Britton. You think about maybe a Blake when he came into the league, maybe a 2010 guy. But for the Pelicans, who already reportedly again have moved number 4 to get another pick, so they now have 2 with 8 and 17. We know about the Laker deal. How about what they have done, and now Zion at the forefront of the franchise?
Well, let's take them in sequence. The first thing they do is they get Zion. They know they're going to take him. Every other decision then complements him. How do they build a team for the future around him? Trade Anthony Davis. You got to trade him. When you trade him away and replace him with the star power you were talking about, Andy, you get multiple assets back from the Lakers. So they got multiple players ready to play. Ingram, Hart, Ball. Ball's dad. But don't sleep on this. The other thing Griff is now doing is getting more assets. He got all those future picks from the Lakers. 2 futures, plus they swap every year. They're going to have the Laker pick every year. And then just now in this deal today, he picks up another future first. So he's partially following the Boston Celtics model, where they bank all these assets and have them in the flywheel for the future. And then he adds all this young talent that's going to go with it. Now you get veterans in free agency.
All right, so here's the one thing I'd like to throw out to you guys here. The one that we haven't discussed is he's never lost. Okay, he has not been a loser, if you will. How does he handle that? Because that's the one unknown we don't know, is if they end up being a team that's more at the bottom, they got to work their way up, and there are a lot of losses.
Well, a lot of guys handle it differently. Some guys, it really eats at them early on. But as you get adjusted to the NBA, you start saying, okay, listen, we have so many games, I'm not going to win all of them. So what I have to do is understand why I lost the game, learn from it, internalize it, and by the time I get to the plane, I'm on to the next game. And that has to be the mindset. It's a next game mentality type of mindset. Understanding every loss, sometimes you want to take something from it. What didn't I do well? What could I have done better? Why did we lose this game? Did I have my A game? Did I do the proper things to be ready for this game? So I think his rookie year is going to be a learning experience. Of course, it is for most rookies, but the losing will be a little bit different for Zion. He's not going to win all of his games. No telling what the Pelicans' record will be next year, but as long as he learns from the losses, I'm fine with it.
We get a chance to find out what this moment was like from the man himself. Our own Jared Greenberg is downstairs with Zion Williamson. Jared?
Well, it seems like the only person in the world that was shocked about Zion going first was Zion himself. Seems pretty emotional for you, Zion. What's going through your mind right now?
A lot. You dream about these things, and you work hard for the chance it'll happen. And to hear my name called #1, couldn't ask for much more than that.
Zion, to have your mom up there with you, what does this mean to your family?
It means everything, especially having my mom up there. She was with me from day one. She was the one who pushed me past limits that I didn't even think I could reach. So, like, just having her up there just meant the world to me.
Zion, obviously you're excited, your family's excited. Can you feel it all the way up here in Brooklyn, how excited they are in New Orleans to have you become the new face of the franchise?
Yeah, I feel like they're excited, and I'm just as excited. So I finally get to go do what I love as a job, and I'm just ready to work.
How much of an impact do you expect to have right away, particularly with all these expectations that have nothing to do with you, but all seem to be on your shoulders?
I don't worry about it. It's not pressure when you're playing the game you love, so you just go out there and you just hoop.
Have you had any conversations with the Pelicans yet?
I had some when I went there like 2 weeks ago, and you know they just said they'd be interested in drafting me, and I'm just glad they selected me.
You expect the playoffs to be in your near-term future?
I mean, I think that's every team's goal. Like you're practicing and working hard to make the playoffs, so we're gonna try our best.
Zion Williamson, the #1 pick in the 2019 NBA draft. Thank you so much. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Casey, let's go back to you.
All right. Jared, thank you very much. Zion at #1, and no surprises. The part of the what we know category. For some who think it's a 3-player draft, clearly it's not, but we knew #2 in that player, especially with the opening now. Mike Conley has moved on. He is in Utah. It is all about Morant walking in Memphis. So, Andy Katz, what does that mean if you're a Grizzlies fan watching?
Well, you're getting one of the best point guards that we've seen over the last couple of seasons. I think he's that good. He had a triple-double against Marquette in the first round of the NCAA tournament. I mean, for people that follow the sport, you saw what he did throughout the course of the season for Murray State. He's got a chip on his shoulder, Brandon, where he knows he was sort of under-recruited. He had to prove himself. Go to Murray State. He did exactly that. Then he gets to the NCAA tournament, so he's on a pedestal, and he delivers. Triple-double to knock off Marquette. They didn't have it to beat Florida State, but he is the real deal and certainly can be a replacement now for Mike Conley Jr.
Ja Morant definitely is the real deal. I love his point guard ability. I love the chip on the shoulder that you talked about as well. I like guys that sometimes have that chip. You know, you always need certain types of things to motivate you. It's a long season. It's a grind, even in the offseason getting ready. So on those days where you don't want to train or something like that, you can use that chip to push you and motivate you to go that much harder. So I love what he brings with that chip on the shoulder. Also, just the athleticism. He brings a natural athleticism to the point guard position, and he's a lot different than a lot of point guards in the league right now. The league right now is all about scoring guards. Ja Morant can score, but what he really likes to do is get his teammates involved. If you watch him in some of his games, I love the fact that he's not afraid to hit ahead to his teammates in transition, let those guys make some plays, and then get his when he can. I love the fact that he's that unselfish, Smitty.
You know, Brendan, when you see point guards, and we don't see a lot of true point guards anymore, there's a lot of scoring point guards. Here's a guy that's an elite passer, but has a high basketball IQ, with the chip on his shoulder, with athleticism, and then a guy that no one was talking about, a lottery pick to start the season, which is very interesting, which makes it special. Now here's a guy that plays with his chip, plays hard, but his teammates loved him. And the one thing watching him is the teammates love you because you're one of those guys that you're an outlier. You're so good that sometimes you alienate yourself. He brought this team together. They won. And what I love about him is he will go out there and compete, and he feels he's the best player on the court no matter where he's played at.
One of the things to remember, too, to the point of what you said, B. Wood, and you think about the unselfishness, first nationally televised game against Marcus Howard, took 9 shots total, 16 assists, wants to win. The Knicks would have wanted an assist, Tom, from the ping pong balls. They didn't get it, but they didn't get shafted either. They're in a spot where they get a guy who, before a year ago, was considered to be the #1 overall guy, we think, when we expect R.J. Barrett. So how about where the Knicks fit now, a minute away from the pick?
Boy, they better get this right because they got nothing else to be excited about other than a ton of cap room. But cap room can't rebound, cap room can't score, cap room can't give out assists until they get some real players. So they got to get a real player here. And in R.J. Barrett, if that's what they get, at least it's a start.
Remember this is a team that initially had thought perhaps Kyrie was coming to them. Looks like he could play in this building, right? KD, the injuries. What about the Knicks? The state of the Knicks probably takes minutes.
With another 60-loss season under their belt, it may seem odd to call 2019 the summer of the Knicks, but it very well could be. Believe it or not, the Knicks have a chance to make a return to an elite basketball club after a shocking mid-season trade that sent Kristaps Porzingis and Tim Hardaway Jr. to Dallas in exchange for DeAndre Jordan and Dennis Smith. The move cleared up a whopping $65 million in cap space, enough to sign 2 max players, which could open the door for a run at Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, or potentially even an injured Kevin Durant. Sure, they didn't get the top overall pick they were hoping for, but number 3 isn't bad. Pair that with the likes of Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Knox, and Alonzo Trier, you've got yourself a solid foundation. Or package the pick into a deal to clear up more space or bring in a superstar. So many options in free agency and with a high pick. All signs pointing up for the New York Knicks.
We just watched the Toronto Raptors with the championship. Now it's a Toronto native hoping to be one of the many steps the Knicks will need, Roe Parrish, to get there themselves. Take us into the crowd.
That uproar that we heard, I haven't heard Knicks fans cheer that loud since Larry Johnson hit that three-pointer against the Pacers in the playoffs back in '99. But instant reaction, as you remember, a number of years ago, there was a young fan that was crying in the stands when a Kristaps Porzingis was selected. His name is Jordan. You saw that pick. I saw you and your dad go crazy. What are your thoughts on RJ coming to the Knicks?
This is a new era. We got something special going here. RJ Barrett is going to change our franchise. With free agency coming up, everything's going to be changing. I'm super excited.
Super excited for him to be here. All the Knicks contingent is here. Casey, these are all your cousins. They are excited. They are elated because they have a member of the Brotherhood coming to Madison Square Garden.
All right.
The who?
Thank you. My extended brotherhood right there with the Knicks fans. And look, we're talking about a guy's size, fluidity, all kinds of different skills. I'll start with you, Smitty. Because of Zion, he gets put in the shadows a little bit. But the spotlight without Zion might have been on Barrett. Why was he so highly touted and maybe a great pick for the Knicks?
A reason why is because he played so hard in high school. He played to win. He was projected the #1 player. And I can say this, every player is not built for New York. This is one kid that's built to take on the New York Knicks, the fans, and the media. He understands everything, and he has a chip on his shoulder. He still understands Zion Williamson went 1, Ja Morant went 2. But he was projected to go to #1 pick, so I'm looking forward how he handles this. And if I had to pick a kid that can handle New York and the Knicks, it would be R.J. Barrett.
Grandfather was a Knicks fan. Seems like a fit, Andy.
It's a great fit. I mean, he knew he was going to be in the top 3, so there's that comfort. But also, I've covered this draft for a long time, probably too long, and that's the first time, as Roe was saying, that I've heard Knick fans cheer the pick. So he's already won one game, if you will, because he's won this crowd over, which is tremendous. And R.J. Barrett, I think he deferred a lot to Zion, and he for good reason. So he's learned how to do that, even at the college level, and he may have to do it at times with the pros, but he'll welcome being the big man on campus, if you will, in this role.
Well, listen, he might have deferred to Zion a little bit, but he still went out there and got his man off. He was able to score, and a lot of it was just simply getting to his left hand, being stronger and more physical than the competition. When you look at R.J. Barrett, you see a guy that he patterns himself after Kobe Bryant, but not from a game standpoint, from a mentality standpoint. He likes to be that hard-nosed, physical guy. He likes to bring it to you. This is a guy that scored more points than any other freshman in ACC history, so we know he can score it. There's some questions about his jump shot, but guess what? He has plenty of time to get in the gym, work on that, and be a better shooter. Only 30% from 3 in college, but we know that number is going to go up as he plays in the league, and right now he's got a great opportunity to put New York on his back. They're starving for a winner.
ACC's leading scorer, despite with Zion there. Imagine if he had played in another school. So let's go to the guy who was too hard on my Knicks down in the end, and Tom Penn. So at least on the pick, why do you look at R.J. Barrett as a guy who can be one of those core pieces for this team to fix it all?
He's blue chip talent. We know that. And he's proven at Duke. It wasn't like he had a bad year. He had, the Zion thing happened. To your question earlier about Zion and handling losing, I'm not worried about him in New Orleans because there's going to be patience and time, and they have a clear trajectory, and he's got a lot of guys to go with him. The cupboard's bare in New York. They traded for Dennis Smith, but they gave away Porzingis when he's ready to pop again. So they're putting all their eggs in the free agency basket. If they don't get two meaningful guys to help, R.J. Barrett's going to have to carry all this on his shoulders and stand out there shooting 30% from three, and all the daggers are going to go at him. They must get him some help in free agency.
When you say two meaningful guys, though, like how high? Because there's a good chance they don't get Kevin Durant. There's a good chance they don't get Kyrie. Does it have to be maybe, I don't know.
It's a great question. Do they give Kemba Walker a max,
Exactly.
and then do they go give DeMarcus Cousins a bunch of money? I don't know.
Jimmy Butler?
And that's not going to do it.
The one
Jimmy
thing I just
Butler?
want to say is the reason I believe he can handle what you're talking about is he's incredibly likable. Okay, so even the New York media, which doesn't like a lot, they're going to like R.J. Barrett, and he will grow on them immediately. And so I think that will give him a honeymoon period.
Yeah,
Let me tell you something about the media. Hey,
I've been in the media, I know.
I can tell you from a player standpoint, it don't matter how much they like you. If you're not hooping, they're going to write bad stories about you.
I just think he's so charismatic. He's so likable. I just don't think they're going to throw daggers at him in the short term.
I'll tell you this.
We'll revisit this later.
I would normally never.
That's fine.
I would normally never interrupt you guys unless it was a guy who could have changed the franchise moving forward himself. Jared Greenberg with the number 2 overall pick to the Memphis Grizzlies, Ja Morant. Jared?
Thanks, Casey. Ja, it's official. You're the number 2 pick in the draft. It seemed like you got a bit emotional back there. What does this mean tonight to you?
It means a lot. Something I worked for most of my life, and I'm able to accomplish that dream tonight. And I'm very emotional right now. I'm trying not to choke up as we speak, but I'm just excited.
Ja, you told us yesterday that your father had a purpose for always challenging you and telling you you couldn't do things. What does it mean tonight to turn to him and watch him see this tonight, that you're the number 2 pick in the draft?
Honestly, all I can tell him is thank you. But knowing him right now, he probably, all right, you here, but you still ain't done nothing yet. So I think we both know I have a lot more work to do and still got to prove myself in the NBA.
Well, the Memphis Grizzlies made a bold statement yesterday by trading away the franchise's all-time leading scorer, Mike Conley. And they're handing the keys to you. You ready for that?
I think so. Obviously, I have a lot of some big shoes to fill. With Conley, he's a great player. I wish him the best, but got to turn the page for me, put in the work, and be ready to play for the Grizzlies.
So you just had a chat with Jaren Jackson Jr., your new teammate here in the arena. Are you guys starting to get excited about what the future looks like with you and him as the foundation of the Grizzlies?
Yeah, we both excited. Obviously, he's very excited just for me to be drafted. He congratulated me for almost a month now. And we built a relationship, and we're very close. So.
All right, like the outfit here, all purple head to toe. But what's up with the pocket square? You got something special in there.
It's the picture from after the Marquette game that I posted and said, "Relax, I'm not done yet." So I had to put it in the pocket, put it on my chest to show that I still have that mindset. I still have a lot more to prove in the NBA.
Ja, look into that camera and say, "Relax, I'm not done yet."
Relax, I'm not done yet.
Thank you, Ja. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, the least we could have done is get him to say welcome to crunch time.